Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Heathwyn or Heathwyn, however you prefer to pronounce it. And today we're going to do a speed build. Now, I know last time we talked about doing the scenarios and we did the frog scenario that came out recently, but I decided to do a speed build this week. So the streamer Tazkabaz on Twitch put up a new shell challenge. And I have never done a shell challenge before. And the shell was definitely looked challenging. And while it looked challenging, it wasn't like a super huge shell. So I felt like, okay, let's give this a try and see how it goes. It was a challenge, to say the least. So I did a speed build for it. I thought it might be something fun to share here on my YouTube channel. And I also thought that doing a speed build would give me a little bit of a chance to kind of bring you guys up to speed a little bit with what all has been going on with me, because things with me have certainly been a little bit different. Like, things have changed. Obviously, you can kind of tell from like my background that things are not like they used to be. And I thought I could kind of bring you up to speed with what's been going on as we talk about the shell and kind of talk a little bit about where I might be going in the future, and just ask for your feedback and see what things you might be interested in and what challenges we could try, things like that. And so that's kind of what I was thinking with doing this, and just kind of getting into the whole, restarting up making YouTube videos. We're going to first of all, we're going to go into game and I'm going to show you what the shell actually looked like before I show you how I built the shell, just to kind of give you an idea. You'll see it in the speed build, but sometimes I think it can be helpful to like actually see it. Okay, so this was the shell. Now it's actually, we've got an upstairs, a downstairs, and a basement, which I forgot about when I started doing it. I completely forgot that there was a basement. So this is the shell. It definitely was maybe not the easiest first shell for me to try. So going into our speed build here, I rotated it to start with and kind of tried to figure out where I wanted it on the lot. And I will tell you that the hardest thing with this was the stupid roof. And while on the one hand, I kind of didn't want to do a modern build, on the other hand, it was like really the only thing that was going to work with this particular build. It was a little bit crazy, a little bit challenging, a little bit tricky to like deal with. I will say it was definitely a significant challenge, but overall I ended up being pretty happy with the way that it ended up turning out and coming together. I was not disappointed with that, like, in the least. So no complaints as far as how it ended up turning out. It was just getting there, getting the roof done was a challenge, and then the other significant challenge was figuring out how to get from level to level because of just the way things were laid out and the size of like the upstairs. Anyway, you'll see how it all ends up like kind of coming together. But roofing was a nightmare and a gigantic challenge with this particular build. But like I said, overall, I'm kind of happy with how it ended up turning out. I used platforms. It is, for the most part, a pretty modern looking build, which is not necessarily a style I'm particularly comfortable with. But overall, I am happy with the end result of this build. No real complaints with the way that it ended up coming together, to be completely honest with you. What's been going on for me? I mentioned that I had moved. So before I was in an apartment, about a year ago, I ended up purchasing a home. We moved at the end of last summer, and then fall hit, and fall was really crazy, and I was like really busy, and I just didn't have a lot of extra energy or brain space to start making like YouTube videos. For those of you who are new to the channel, or maybe you just didn't know, I do deal with the effects of long COVID, and that has been something that has made life particularly challenging for me. I get fatigued very easily, I get short of breath very quickly, so I definitely find myself needing to like remember to breathe when I'm recording videos and whatnot. So that's something that I have been trying to focus on and whatnot. And then the fall was just very busy with kids, with still getting settled into the house and what have you. And that was very challenging. We made it through the fall, got into the holiday season, and that was fine. But then starting kind of at the end of last year and coming into this year, there were some mental health issues within the house. And that was very time consuming and took up a lot of energy. And so I just have not had the extra time, like brain space, to make videos. So we're trying it again. We're going to see how it goes. Of course, as I start making these, like the school year is starting to wrap up with my kids, and then that makes things challenging. So we'll see how things end up going. I did start streaming on Twitch, and I try to stream like a couple of times a week. And that's been something that I have really been enjoying quite a bit. So I have been streaming on Twitch, and I will link my Twitch channel down below if you are interested in that. I tend to stream during the day in like the East Coast time zone because that's really what ends up working for me with like the kids and their school schedule and all of that. So that ends up being most ideal for me. I have not been posting VODs at this particular point in time, but I may going forward in the future. I wasn't really sure how things were gonna go. I just recently reached affiliate, which was really exciting. So that's been a lot of fun and a good way for me to kind of keep myself engaged, to interact with other people and all of that. That's been what's happening. So check me out on Twitch if you are interested. Like I said, I will link that down below for you. Yeah, it's mostly gameplay that I've been doing. I've been playing a career legacy challenge on Short Lifespan, which is easy. I don't know if you've ever played anything on Short Lifespan, but it's a little nuts. Things go really, really fast. It gets a little crazy sometimes, and your head kind of spins from time to time, but it's a lot of fun. We just started Generation 5. I've actually been able to complete all of the careers. It's taken some work and some effort, but overall it's been a fun experience, and I really enjoy it. Okay, so looking quickly at the build, I'm working on the bathroom at the moment, and I will say I did something in the bathroom that I thought was kind of cool. I wanted to create like a walk-in shower concept. And so that was what I was working with here as you're seeing me kind of figure out how I want to lay this out. And I do end up changing it. I made it a little bit bigger, but what I did is I just put in a wall and then I popped a window in there to kind of create like that glass look, because unfortunately there wasn't like, I could have done maybe like there wasn't like an all glass door that would have worked. So I ended up just kind of creating this walk-in shower effect, which I thought was really cool. And I got the floor plan and everything laid out in the house. And then because I find landscaping and doing yards to be the most challenging, I decided to go and start that and do that first before I went back and started decorating the house. And I'm glad that I did that, because I had more creative energy to deal with the outside, and then going back and doing in the inside wasn't nearly as hard, because I've done a lot more decorating of houses and feel a little bit more confident with that. Landscaping is still an area that I feel like I could definitely be better at. So I'm kind of working on like a backyard patio area. I did put in a pool. I built it in Oasis Springs, and it's, warm a lot in Oasis Springs, so I thought a pool would be a good thing to put in there. And I'm just kind of working on getting like the layout of the roof how I wanted it to be. The one thing I wish was a little bit differently, you can see around the balcony like the trim is black, but then around the front it is like the whitish color, and that's because I used a platform and I couldn't really find a platform that matched that effect for me. Not exactly how I wanted it to be, but I'm fine. I'm fine with it. It's just not quite perfect. Considering how challenging the roof was, I'm calling it a win. And I also realized after I uploaded this to the gallery that I forgot to put columns around the porch, but whatever. We're rolling with it. It is what it is. We're fine. So I'm working on kind of landscaping around. It is in Oasis Springs, so I figure we're gonna have a lot more of like the desert, cactusy, spiky looking plants around the home, as opposed to some of the more lush looking things. So that's what I'm doing around the front, and just kind of creating that space. I do put in some rocks and kind of decorate things like that. So yeah, so we're kind of like doing a bit of landscaping and keeping with kind of the feel of Oasis Springs. I am looking at like the lots around me to see like what things are used around me to kind of create a cohesive feel with my build, and I think I did an okay job with that. I'm pleased with how it ends up turning out all around. I enjoyed this. It was a challenge, but like a good challenge, and I had fun with that particular challenge. So I'm just adding a little bit of terrain paint around things to kind of create some depth to the build, create something, you know, a little bit more realistic. And then this is going to be mostly it for like a lot of the plants and the landscaping. Going back and doing in the patio, I did do more lush looking flowers kind of around the inside of the patio, thinking these people probably would have had like things irrigated a little bit and created a space where they could have like nice lush flowers and plants, and not just like the barren cactusy landscaping around them. So that's kind of what I was going with inside this patio space, and I'm glad. I like how it turned out. I think it turned out fairly well, and I'm kind of pleased with it. As I'm like working on figuring out scheduling and how I want to go forward with everything, I know my kids are coming up on a summer really soon, and so we're gonna try to figure out a schedule that will work for me to stream and continue to do this stuff, because it is things that I really enjoy, and both of my kids know that I stream and what have you, so they are, you know, they're okay with it. It's just because of the layout of the house, like you can kind of tell I'm in my living room, and so we need to just like coordinate a way to make things work a little bit better for us. So, and we'll get there, we'll figure it out. We just haven't quite crossed that road. The other challenge that I am definitely going to be facing is we found out last week that my mom's health is like looking really poorly. While it hasn't been completely confirmed, it looks like my mom might have cancer pretty much throughout her entire abdomen. And so there's going to be a lot of me needing to like care for that. So I'm not really sure how scheduling is going to end up working out going through the summer. I still want to put out content. I want to still be able to stream. I just don't know what things are going to look like. I will also link down below my Twitter, which is where I do post when I'm going live on Twitch, and I'll try to, I forgot to post the last video, but I'll try to remember to post the videos there as well. At this particular point, I don't have a Discord, but that may be coming just depending on how things develop with the Twitch. So these lights, I really wanted these lights around my patio, but oh my goodness, the amount of fussing and the finickiness of like getting them exactly how I wanted them and to work was crazy, like crazy. I fought and I fussed, and I left it in here just because it was such a process. I did get them the way that I wanted them in the end, and I think it creates like a really cool effect around the patio area, and I think that this would be a really nice place for your Sims to come and like hang out in the evening when, you know, the sun goes down, and with it being Oasis Springs and the weather being warmer, you know, swimming at night at the pool or like lounging in the hot tub, all really cool things with the lighting. So I'm really pleased with the way the patio ended up coming together. I like the way it turned out quite a bit, and I liked the lights. I think I really ended up liking the way the lights came together. So I'm pleased with that and the way it all started to shape up and come together. And I got the hard part of decorating the outside done and out of the way, so when I went inside, things went a little bit smoother, except the kitchen, which you will see when I get, well, no, because I cut out a lot of it. The kitchen, because it's on an angle, was an absolute nightmare to furnish. And I'll talk about that a little bit when we get there. So one of the other like developments that happened in my life is, as we were dealing with a lot of the mental health issues in my family, we ended up adopting a cat from a local shelter. So I know we now have a cat. I am much more of a dog person, but I will say the cat has been a fun addition to the family. His name is Rasand, and we picked him up at the local shelter. He ended up, I think, being a lot more of a kitten than we really expected him to be. And he's definitely a quirky cat. He's a lot of fun, and he's done kind of what we were needing him to do. So yeah, so you can see I've decorated that walk-in shower, and I really think that it ends up being a cool effect. I do put in the basement a second bathroom that has a bathtub in it. This is 1 bedroom and 2 bathrooms. It seems kind of silly, but you'll see once I go down and decorate the basement, it's a very different kind of living space, and so it kind of made sense. Now the kitchen. You didn't see all of my fighting with getting the cabinets in, but because the kitchen is set on a diagonal, the cabinets and the spacing and the way things line up is totally different. So while the space where the stove is 3 tiles, you can't put 3 normal sized tile things in there or else things clip. So I had to utilize like the end cabinets. I tried to do overhead cabinets, but again, because of the spacing, it didn't really work all that well. I do end up putting some cabinets over the sink just to kind of fill that space out and put something there because it needed something to be there. I thought about a window, but it would have had to have been a shorter window, and I didn't think that would, I thought the effect that would have on the front wasn't going to be what I was wanting. I instead ended up putting some cabinets on there. Now, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know I'm not a big clutter person. So I do add a little bit of clutter to the kitchen, but I'm not a huge clutter person. I kind of live more minimalistically myself, and so that gets reflected a bit in my build. And this is where I'm trying to decide what I wanted to put there. And I do end up going with a cabinet instead of the painting because I felt like there wasn't enough contrast with like the tile on the wall. So it took me a little bit, but then in the end I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put the cabinet. So we do end up with some upper cabinets. It took some fighting and some finicky like fudging things around to make it work. The kitchen was like the hardest thing to furnish because of that angle. I fought with the kitchen for a very, very long time. And ultimately this ends up being a 1 bedroom, 2 bathroom build. It isn't a super huge home, and you could certainly create like the downstairs could be another bedroom or something like that if you wanted to have a family live in this house. I was kind of thinking something along the lines of like a single sim or maybe like a power couple, you know, someone who's maybe not interested in having children and it's a little bit more luxurious. It ends up being, I think, around 70,000 simoleons, which definitely is far more than a starter home. So yeah, so that's kind of like what I had in mind as far as when I was building it, like who might live here, especially with the more modern style. Not to say that like families can't live in a more modern home, but it just felt to me a little bit more our couple, like business person, tech savvy maybe. Something like that might be who lives here and who lives in this particular space. I like, and it still stays like it's decorated, but not like over the top with like clutter and stuff everywhere. I feel like it creates kind of, there's like a clean look to it. I don't know. I'm happy with how it turned out. I was proud of myself because this was stinking hard. And so we're upstairs to the bedroom now. I did have a little bit of trouble deciding how I wanted to lay this space out. It isn't ultimately a very big room. And that's why I went with the ladders instead of the stairs, because stairs just were not really working with the way the walls were and everything. They were not working. So it became ladders. Stairs was like, I fought with stairs for a while. Ultimately, I ended up just going, all right, no, ladders. We're doing ladders. It's just one less thing that I have to worry about. And so ladders it was. Doesn't work if you've got a toddler. But again, I wasn't thinking that this would be a home, like a family. I was thinking like single sim, power couple, like that sort of dynamic for this house, not necessarily a family. That being said, you could certainly convert some things. You know, you could have a toddler dungeon in the basement, lock the toddlers down there. You know, they'd be fine. It's The Sims. I do not condone locking real toddlers in the basement, but The Sims, go for it. So I don't go crazy with colors. Blue is always my go-to, so that's a lot of what the accent colors are in this home, a lot of black, white, blue, a little bit of purple, and I like how it all came. And I wanted to do something with this balcony space as well, and I thought planners for like a rooftop garden. We're in the jungle, or not the jungle, we're in the desert, so something like that would be really cool. And then just creating a little bit of space for your Sims to kind of hang out outside. I thought about having an easel there. I end up putting these planters in instead and then just getting rid of the easel altogether. So there is not an easel in the house, but there is a chess table. There ends up being a computer and a TV downstairs. There's obviously like a bookshelves and the gardening spaces. So there's room to do some things. So this is where I said I end up putting a bathroom downstairs as well, because this really is kind of like a completely separate space. And then I gave the basement just a very different feel to it than the rest of the house. So different feel to the basement, and I liked the way that it ended up coming together. This had a much more homey sort of feel, a little bit more comfy, a little bit more cozy down here. Like I said, there is a tub in the bathroom downstairs, so that works if your Sims like want to take a bath. So I create like a den almost with, you know, a TV, some comfy couches and chairs. I put a computer down here, and I kind of went with like green for this. We had like blues upstairs, so downstairs I went more with like some greens that kind of created some cohesion. Some might say that having a different style in the basement isn't very consistent, but I thought this is kind of a place to like lounge around and hang out, and that needs to be comfortable. And sometimes the modern aesthetic doesn't create like a homey, warm feel. So I thought about putting in this bookcase, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I put in a guitar. So there is a guitar. And then I remembered that I wanted to put in a computer, and I was like, oh wait, no, we need to take that out because I need to put in a desk and a computer down here. So I do end up taking out the bookcase and putting in a desk and a computer, which I'm glad that we did that. That I did that. I like the way it looks. And I'm gonna complain about our desk lamps because they stink. There are just not good desk lamp options in The Sims. I don't know what exactly I'm looking for, but something better than what we actually have, because they kind of stink. Not a fan. Now I'm coming about to the end of this part, and I thought before I went into like the images of the screenshots and stuff, we could maybe go into the game and I could show you in the game what the build looks like in game, because sometimes the screenshots, it's hard to get like good angles and things like that. So I thought we could take a little tour like actually in game for a minute once we get done with this part right here, and then we'll come back and finish up with some screenshots. All right, so here is the actual building in the game, and I do have a Sim living here just so that I could go into first person mode and actually take pictures. So it looks like maybe the welcome wagon is showing up. This is just some random Sim that the gallery generated. So this is what it looks like from the outside. Here is the front. We've got like a little seating area right here. And then if we rotate around to the back, well, first of all, here's the balcony with a chess table and some planters right there, a little seating area with an umbrella, and we got our planter boxes so you could do some rooftop gardening, which would be really nice. In the back we do have a grill, as well as a table to come and sit at should you decide to grill. There's also a little bar back here in case you want to host like a party, a pool party, or any kind of party. This would be a great space to do it. Some lounge chairs here by the pool under an awning to give a little bit of shade. It is Oasis Springs. You are in the desert. We've got a pool with a floaty and a hot tub right there. So going down, let's start and look in the basement. So here is the bathroom in the basement. We've just got a shower tub combo, and you're just basic, nothing exciting about the bathroom basement. Over here is where the computer and the desk are, so you can use those. We've got a guitar for working on music skills. And then this is kind of like, you know, the den area where we've got sofas and chairs, a large screen TV, as well as a radio. Going upstairs, you kind of come in the entryway here, and there's like a little place for you to take off your shoes. I don't like first person mode. That's why I'm not giving the tour in that, because it makes me feel a little like queasy. And then in here is the bathroom, and I might drop these walls down a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So this is the bathroom. this is the shower like I was telling you about. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I also like the toilet kind of over here. It creates like a bit of more privacy for the toilet. And then just like a plant, a vanity, and a mirror right there. But yeah, I like the way that this turned out. I was like, oh, this is a good idea. Good job, me. All right, this is kind of like a little living space. It's pretty simplistic. Maybe this is just a place for sitting and chatting or reading. There's like a large picture window that you can kind of look out and see things around you. Just kind of a nice place to sit and have some conversation. Up here is the kitchen, like I told you, complete nightmare to put together and not the most ideal setup for the kitchen, but I think it will work. You know, you can prep your food. Here's your refrigerator, prep your food, everything here. It works. Not ideal, but I have lived in worse kitchens. And then here's the little dining area right here. I didn't figure it needed to be anything huge. There's also the outdoor space, should you need it as well. And then real quickly upstairs, here is the bedroom, a double bed, some plants, a mirror up here, as well as a little wardrobe, should you be interested in that. And that opens out again into the balcony. So yeah, so here is the Taz shell. I do have it uploaded on the gallery. My username there is Heathwyn. So if you are interested, it is there, and I will let you go take a closer look at some screenshots. So we will go into some screenshots, and thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, please do give it a like, comment, and hit subscribe below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.